Today on Broken Bronco Garage, you got everybody here. Except for Kevin. Kevin actually filled out a sheet. He wanted some time off.
House request denied.
I denied it. He didn't listen to me. So Kevin's on a little vacay for the weekend, but we got Pops, the grumpy guy. He's actually here. We got John and Nathan. We're going to tackle a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to kind of be working individually today. I'm going to be working on an engine. I got the smart guys here working on how we're going to put this new fuel tank in the old man so we can move the axle back. And John, the man who does all the body work here, I ain't going to pretend like I know what he does. I just feel like, great job, John. This is not a junkyard 302. I bought it from a guy who maybe bought it from a junkyard. I don't know. Anyways, old 302, a couple 100,000 miles on it. Lasted us a year. $300. I'm proud of it. It's pretty. It did its job. This is not a junkyard 302. This is a remanufactured 302. I bought it on Marketplace. Not going to lie to you guys. Discounts. It works. But it is, in fact, brand new. You will see that today. We are going to take all this stuff off of here, hand it to Fred. Fred's going to clean while I wrench. Then we're going to put it all on this motor. At home, I highly recommend you take 1,000 pictures before you tear something down, especially if you haven't done this. Unfortunately, I've done this 3 years in a row. Photo. This is the Explorer front dress. I had to get talked into this. I didn't think it was as great as it actually is, and it really is. I have it a little bit differently. This is a coolant bypass hose from Wild Horses. This is a Saginaw pump from Wild Horses, and their bracket right here, which allows us to run the rest of the Ford Explorer front dress system. I'm gonna take the belt off. Again, take pictures so you know the routing. We have plenty. Reference this video if you have this same setup, whatever works for you.
About 3 years ago, we did a tank swap on this to put the electric fuel pump and stuff inside the tank. It's a Wild Horses M1A1 tank, and we're going to pull it out, and it's going to actually go in the special one we're building for Miss Karen, and we're going to put a brand new one in that hopefully will take a stock F-150 fuel pump, and we'll get to work on it.
I usually just run these back in here so I don't lose them, because I will lose them. Distributor. As you can see, we have a ProFlow system, so this distributor is unique to it. Want to be good. Only thing I always check whenever I pull a distributor is check this gear. You can see where it's riding. It's fine. Nothing going on in there. This seal looks good. We'll clean this bad boy up and use it again.
All right, so this is Project Pixie Stick, right? This is for Big Boss Lady. This is where it starts, the frame, right? This is getting the Coyote engine put in it. It's going to come off it eventually, so It's just sitting here for a placeholder at the moment. This is probably going to be the nicest looking Bronco that comes out of Broken Bronco Garage. Let's face it. So this body's going to end up on here. But for now, we're going to start with the frame. We're going to do a little more on it than what you would do at home, mostly because I'm told that this Bronco is going to debut at a special show that happens in the desert every year, sometime in the near future. So when Ed started this frame, it was completely rusted, had about 60 years worth of corrosion on it. So he went and had the whole thing sandblasted so that we could have a nice fresh start on metal. They went ahead and redid all the body mounts because they were rusted out. But it's been sitting. How long has it been sitting, Ed?
6 months.
About 6 months. So that's 6 months of all these people coming up and getting their grubby little hands on here and getting all the oils from their hands, and it's been rusting. It actually looks like a bird took a dump on it in one spot, but we can get to that later. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean this thing up as best we can. We're gonna sand it down and we're gonna actually hit it with some rust converter, because if you've ever had anything sandblasted, you know that the metal gets pits in it. And those little pits, they're little spots that we can't get sandpaper into. So we're going to convert the rust. And like I said, because this project's going to be so pretty, we're going to actually fill those holes, prime this thing, paint it up. It's going to look like the same paint job as the outside of the Bronco. So it's just like cleaning anything. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to spray it with our cleaner. And we're going to wipe it clean. And as you can see, pulling off some dirt. Pretty simple.
Sounds good.
So now that the frame's clean, we're going to use 80 grit, pretty much get all the surface rust down on this thing. We're going to knock it down. I mean, it doesn't have to be like completely smooth, but enough to get the rust that formed on it over the past couple months.
Sounds good.
In my instance, I want to be careful here because it holds the coil with a spacer as well. So this is part of the Wild Horses kit, again, to run the Saginaw pump. Come over here with the camera real quick. You'll see, if you're installing this, don't be afraid to spacer it out. You obviously want your belt to be perfect. If you look here, you'll see spacers. When I mean spacers, I mean washers. That's what we used. It worked great. Look how quick. I mean, what are we doing? 10 minutes into this, maybe 5? We're down to the water pump, harmonic balancer, then we'll have the front of this engine apart. Ford water pumps. All these go through jackets. So I do it this way, you do it your way. You can label them, maybe you know it just because you've done enough of them. I just try to leave the bolts in. Makes it quick and easy later.
Got a new custom tank over there.
So, okay. Okay.
That's pretty empty.
Okay.
So we got the Wild Horses fuel tank out here, as you can see. Took a little persuasion, trying to get fuel lines off and some of the connectors. It's a pretty tight space, but a little bit of patience and you can get those things out. So as you can see, the difference between these fuel tanks, this is a custom fuel tank that Ed had built for the old man here. The idea behind this is make things a little simpler. This is actually going to use a F-150 drop-in fuel pump assembly. Just a factory part, real easy to obtain if you're broke down on the trail and have to go to the auto parts store and get a new one. The fuel sending unit's built into those, the return line, pressure line, everything comes out the top. Real simple to hook up. As far as the tank here, you can see a few differences in the tank. The front of the tank here, this is the front. This is notched, so we can actually move his axle back. And that's the idea. We want to extend the wheelbase of the old man. So moving the axle back would have hit the Wild Horses fuel tank or even some of the OEM fuel tanks. So this will allow us a little bit of extra space. We won't know exactly how much space we're going to have until we get the rear axle, the Chevy, is a 14-bolt rear axle. It's going to have trusses. We're doing 4-link, the whole 9. But we will not know how much room we'll have in the back here until we get everything set up. So you'll see that in the future as we do more.
Once we do that, I think that sled will work and it'll protect that tank too.
It's got to have some sort of armor down there.
Yeah, and that's definitely armor.
Especially when you have a madman behind the wheel. So
we keep mangling the gas caps and stuff, so it's either recess it or move it. So what I'm thinking about is we'll go ahead and cut this out, plate it on the inside because we're going to move the axle back. We're changing the wheel wells and wheel hubs anyway. So why don't we put the fill in the back side or even in the top of this wheel well we're going to fit on the inside of this. So we're going to be moving both of these wheel wells back because we're lengthening the chassis out and the wheelbase on this. So we're going to have to redo all this. So when we do this, we're going to also build the fill for the tank in this area.
So after mechanically sanding it, you can see, if you can come in here, you can see all these little imperfections that showed up where we're not able to get sandpaper into. All these areas here, we're going to end up hand sanding that and making that nice and clean. And then we're going to hit this whole thing with rust converter. That way, all these little spots here will turn into like a primer type, but it'll make it so that it's able to be top coated. We got it cleaned off, sanded, blown back off. Now we're ready to hit it with some rust converter. It's a nice little O'Reilly's pickup. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. And this is just to get into all these little crevices and basically turn it to a product that could be top coated. I really should be wearing a mask doing this, but we're not OSHA qualified here at Broken Bronco Garage.
We had a little visit from OSHA.
That good enough coverage?
Yep.
You did these though, right?
Yeah.
So what exactly does this stuff do?
Well, it's going to do two things. One, it's going to protect everything that we sanded down to bare metal from rusting ever again,
Okay.
while it sits. Two, it's going to convert anything that we could not sand because it was below the surface by chemically reacting with the iron oxide and turning it into something that can be top coated. So as you can see, it kind of looks like it's black in a couple areas.
Yeah.
And that's actually surface rust that we did not sand off and could not sand off. This is actually making that color. Otherwise, the rest of it kind of looks like a bluish
Yep.
with the metal. This stuff is actually working pretty quick. And like I said, we picked this up at O'Reilly's. It was nice and cheap. You don't have to, this step does not have to be super expensive. Next time you see me, we're gonna get this thing ready for primer. We're gonna be filling the holes, sanding it smooth, and then get it ready for primer.
Bronco Man 6 just has to do his part.
Most of the front dress is off. Now we got to pull off the harmonic balancer. This is a cheap Harbor Freight kit that I just went and got because I can't seem to locate my other one. I think I might have broke it, but either way, get this threaded in. I like to do this by hand. You can do it with a gun. See how it's starting to pull off of here. Harmonic balancer off. Been missing this socket. What do you mean? Yeah, sometimes you just make spacers out of whatever you can. You're probably going, Ed, you don't run headers? I don't run headers. I used to run headers, and I got tired of getting heat-soaked engines all the time, and I tried everything. Nothing worked. Old school manifolds for the win. Hey, Fred, can I get to steal you for a second? I got one more. I don't know if this is the right way, it's just the way I do it. So this is a late model 302 block. This is a late model 302 block. So they were all set up for all this emissions stuff. So all I do is run a bolt through that hole. Otherwise, you will have a mean exhaust leak if you don't.
Look what he's wearing. That looks loose.
Well, busy day here at Broken Bronco Garage. You got to see Fred and I tear down the old 302. Thank you, Fred, for doing all that cleaning. We just started assembly on the new 302. It's dinner time. Big guy. Got to quit for the day. You got to see Pops and Nathan working on the fuel cell. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time on that. Really anxious to see what that does, how much room we can push that axle back. And then you got to see Boss Lady and John. John and Boss Lady were sanding away at that frame, getting Project Pixie Stick moving. We have some big goals and big things to come for that Bronco. So just a normal shop day around here, Broken Bronco Garage. Just happened to be where we're working on all my crap. But you never know what we'll be working on next. So thanks for watching, guys.
Please like.
Please follow.
Please subscribe.
You really thought I would end the video without showing you the brand new 302 that's going in the old man? Come on now. You haven't been watching this channel that long. It's the Black Mamba. This is the new 302 that will go into the old man. It's a remanufactured unit. It's not 100% done. This is like 4 days later from when all the guys were here working. I've been working every night after work. Really close. This weekend, 100% wrapped up, but welcome. I'm calling it the Black Mamba 302.